for the chimichangas. Everyone getting nerdy, fly with 8 at 8 p.m. Also known as Silent High, the comic guy. Boom, pow, got pops like Funko, how you like me now? Eating comics for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A real winner, like DP and Spidey, talking about other superheroes. Let's open some mystery boxes and celebrate weirdos. Imagination never ends, united through comics, we all friends.
You're right there. Okay. Hey, how you doing? I'm Adrian APM. You may know me from battling monsters in the sea or fishing with bumblebees in the movie called Bees. They're fishing. Anyways, let's go ahead and welcome in the guys. We're going to do some indie talk with here. Let's not wait. We got Mr. Promiscuous Time Traveler. There he is.
Hey, how's it going? I still got the brown.
If I seem laggy, by the way, anyone, it's probably because there's wind and weather in Wisconsin.
Oh.
Okay, let's bring in Mr. Slotitup. What?
What is up, everybody? How's it going, guys?
And the man of the hour with the best hair in the business, Taylor Winder.
I'm way too indie for this mainstream channel.
I read it before it was cool. So,
yeah, wow.
Again, everybody, welcome. Hopefully, some of you peeps pile in. It's probably dinner time, or it's earlier than dinner time. I don't know what time it is, but it's 5 my time, so it's dinner time. So I already had some fruit snacks, so I'm good.
It's iced coffee o'clock.
Nice.
It's coffee time.
It's coffee time.
Nice.
I'm too hip for drinks.
You're too hip for drinks. Anyways, today, guys, we are going to be talking about, obviously, indie comics. Everything about them. If you have questions about them, we might know the answers, and we might be just sitting there, just looking dumb, not knowing the answers. But we're just going to talk a little bit about it, what we think about the industry and everything around it, and what's going on, what is happening to this crazy indie comic book world.
Right?
So
the Indiana Jones comic is great. So let's talk about it.
It's a great comic. Everyone should pick one up, please do.
It's really not.
Kyle, do you want to kick something off first? Sure. Yeah, go ahead, man. Let's just rock it.
I have a very long list of my favorite indies. There's 25 on this list. It's hard to keep up with all of them. Oh yes, hey everybody. But there's so many different things out there, I guess is the way to put it. You have your cowboy genre, you have your sci-fi genre, you have your there's strangely a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff.
Yes.
Because everybody's fantasizing about the end of the world.
Taylor brought that up in one of his videos.
Yeah, exactly. And
every damn indie book now.
Yeah. I'd be remiss to say that I'm actually making a comic book and it's post-apocalyptic. And I'm just like, oh man. But I steer clear of all the tropes. And but they're like going back to what I was saying, there's so many cool concepts. Like here, number 3 on my list, Scout's Honor, just came to its conclusion. I was a Boy Scout. I saw it on the thing and I'm like, I'm never gonna read that. There's no way. And then I hear buzz. About it. They're like, it's cool. It's a cool take. Like this person has to live by the Scout code. And I'm like, all right, fine. I pick it up and it's fantastic. It's absolutely but you can't get steered away. You can't get distracted by the covers and stuff. You just try things out. The indie scene is about learning new things, finding new books, enjoying the art, great stories, different takes on the things that we like. And it's cool to see some of that transpire.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. What are right now? Just give me just a couple. Like, what are your favorite indie books right now?
I'll start. Let's see. Stillwater is really good. I love that book. Snow Angels is another really good indie book. If you haven't read that one, obviously Something is Killing the Children. That's a book that at first, when everyone was before I got into it, everyone was all over it, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't sound like my kind of book. And then
Right.
I didn't read it until the trade paperbacks, and I fell in love. So that one, Scumbag, is hilarious. Maniac of New York. I mean, there's a lot of really good books.
That's
I mean,
a
I
cool
could go on
concept.
for days.
What you got there?
Shadow Service.
Ooh, there's 2 shadow books out there.
There
Shadow
are.
Service,
This is the one,
Shadow
that no
Doctor.
one's reading. I think it's a shame. It's MI666. It's sort of like John Constantine and Zatanna on a weird like Secret Service thing. It's great.
Yeah.
And then you get sad, creepy clown stories. And haha.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, there's a ton out there. Like those are the 2 I had literally sitting next to me. And
Right.
Department of Truth, and what else is here?
Yes.
Nuclear Family. I mean,
Yeah.
those are all the ones that just came out this week, but they're all pretty great.
These are all great titles. Yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Adrian?
If I had to choose, I mean, definitely, like, because you guys know I'm a big fan of Berserker. So, and that's new, basically. So Berserker, I mean, definitely something that's killing the children, which, it's a fun story, It's so, you can't. There's if you haven't read it, people, you need to. The trades are out for the first 10 books, and you should just go find it and read it.
Yeah, there should be no reason to be 10 issues behind if you are.
Right.
You're just randomly 10 issues behind.
But Taylor's like, hey, wait a
Somebody
minute.
had a little other reading to do. That's all.
And I see that Punch brought up We Live. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. We need to
Yeah.
talk about that. Let's
Let's go ahead and let's talk about that. I just want to say, at first, reading this, because I'm not going to give anything away,
Yeah.
I was not captivated. I wasn't like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. Oh, yeah. I was kind of like, just, I was like, okay. And maybe it's because, like, it wasn't my favorite style of art. Maybe like sometimes things will throw you off a little bit. So you're like, oh, I don't quite love that. But then you just keep reading and you're reading. You're like, okay. And then you're like, hey, you get to that one point. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know.
With
I
We
love
Live, I think they managed to like subvert expectations with every issue, which I think was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Like every time I thought they would zig, they zagged, and I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, it took about 3 issues for me to really be on board with it, and then now I'm there for whatever the heck they do next with it.
Right.
That first issue for me, like you were saying, the zig, thinking they're going to zig when they zag. That first, you guys know what I'm talking about. That first issue, that like, wow, that really just happened. After that, I was hooked. I was like, okay, I'm in. Yeah.
How about you, Kyle?
I think We Live is textbook. I want to see it animated somewhere. I think it would be a great show. Absolutely cool concept. I was a huge fan of it. I had one nitpick, and that's just because I'm a nitpicky person. And it was in like issue 4 where they're like breaking down some sciencey stuff, and like it was like completely inaccurate. And I get it; it's a comic book. It's about fantasy. It's not real. But it was something.
Buddy. No.
Here, I'll just say it. They said in the comic book that neurons were made in your heart, and I'm like, I can't get past it. I'm like, no, neurons are not made in your heart. Please stop. And they kept
Maybe they're not
going
made
on
in
it.
your heart.
Yeah, there you go. They're like, I couldn't get past that, but absolutely loved it. I was completely blown away by that. Not a lot of people know because some people don't read their books, but there's a soundtrack that goes with it. There's a barcode that you scan throughout the book,
There is.
and it takes you to a song. You listen to it, and it just creates this vibe. And it's none of the songs are in English, but it's a really cool vibe. Really cool the way that they presented it. Like I was taken away by it. So, and I wanted to say something about. Go ahead.
Oh no! You can continue. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna change the thing. So if you have anything else to say about We Live, go for it.
Go for it.
I wanted to bring it back to Something Is Killing the Children. What do you guys think of the art in Something Is Killing the Children? Because it's so grungy to me, and like
I like that style.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Well, grungy. If you want to talk about like kind of like craziness, like let's talk about Department of Truth. Okay.
Truth, yes. I was going to say
and that's
that's
exactly
like
where I was going to
grungy,
take
like-
it.
Yeah, there's a few other books that are grungier.
Right, but no,
Yes.
something's good. It's not like, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, there are books sometimes you're just like, you're like trying to look at it in some weird way. But yeah, I can see what you're saying, where it's not like perfect lines and you know what I mean. But yeah, I can feel you there.
And Jason made the perfect example is Department of Truth. What is it, Simmons, or I forget the artist. It's so just rough and rugged.
Yeah,
but
it's rugged as hell. But and they also changed the artists in those first three issues. They had different artists.
Yeah. Yep.
Or they had a run where they changed artists, and that threw me off like crazy.
It was the first 5 was done by the same guy.
So.
Yep. And then 6 through 8, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9. What's the most recent one that came out this week? 9 or 10?
9 just came out.
Okay. They just brought back the original arts for number 9. And then
yeah, I mean, I think his style takes a fair amount of time. So like,
yeah,
you know, it's a. If you've not read it, folks, it's a wordy sumbitch.
It is a wordy book.
But I mean, it's also pretty grungy and pretty. It reminds me a lot of Bill Sienkiewicz, quite a bit.
Yeah. And when you said that in the video, Taylor, like I was like, I just kind of went, yeah, totally. Like,
yeah,
totally.
Like his Elektra assassin book and stuff. There's a lot.
Totally.
That, you know.
Yeah, like almost exactly. If you think about it, that's weird.
Yeah. So.
And good.
I like Sienkiewicz's stuff, but it's not going to be for everybody. If you're looking for traditional comic art, that is not it. But that's part of what I think is the joy of these indie books. Is
by the way, just because I said I was going to do it, let me just quick show off the. This is for the guy that made me this beautiful. Speaking of indie books,
Nice.
It's done by Andrew, the artist, guys. Check him out on Instagram. He's pretty freaking awesome. But this is my Keanu Berserker with Jay and Silent Bob. So
you could call it like a Bill and Ted meets Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I told him what I wanted, I was just like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You know, it's gonna be fun. But
speaking of art, and like you know how you said one was grungy, what do you guys think of the art in Home? Because I love the story in that book, but the art to me is.
Yeah, the story is really cool. Like a real concept and adding a superhero to it. I'm ready for that. But yeah, I agree with you on the art. It's almost like simplistic, I guess, is how I describe it.
Yeah. It's like not as.
Oh, go ahead.
It's almost kiddie. It's almost kiddish. Almost even like I like Scotty Young to a point, but it's almost like a Scotty Youngish kiddie kind of art.
See, and that's what kind of like threw me off on We Live first, because I thought it looks so kiddie at points. Like, I'll say this, not the first page, whatever. I can read like the old man that didn't look kiddie at all. Like, you know, but like kind of got into it and I was like, what is this? I felt like I was like, I don't know, like in a K-pop video, you know, like just something like bubbly, like you know what I mean, right? Like I don't know if that's the right reference to use, because I'm sure most K-pop videos are pretty bubbly. So, am I wrong?
We get what you're saying.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
We get what you're saying, but that's the kind of beauty of indies. You get all these different styles. Like I read
very true.
When Jason talked about Home, that's a hard-hitting story. And a lot of people can relate to it, and it's you can't talk about that book and not get political. But then they do it with like this cartoony artwork, and you're like, huh, you would think that it'd be like more realistic. Yeah, it throws you off, but it's cool in that aspect.
Same with like say Stray Dogs. That book is super cartoony, but it's crazy.
People think that for kids, and they're like, no. We have all these horror homages.
Let me bring home a little Johnny, a little book, his first comic book. It's got stray dogs, just like Lady and the Tramp.
No, it is not. Unless if there was like a murderer and serial killer involved.
The tropes of that book were awesome. They play on the memory of dogs. It's realistic and also childish, cartoonish artwork. So it's the contrasts are just really cool. Going back to that,
What's that?
It just needs to get somewhere because the last 2 issues have been the same thing both
Okay.
issues.
Did you read issue 4?
Yeah, and it's issues 1 through 4. Every issue's been about the same. It's like they expect the reader to forget every issue too.
Yeah, sort of. But issue 4 was kind of like, wow.
It's getting there. I mean, I like it, but it's just kind of like, come on, guys. Like
we're only going to 5, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the thing with indie books, which I like, but like, is I think editorial staff has a looser hand if there's an editor at all, and so you know, like they have more free range to like flex on some of the stories, which can be good, but sometimes it's like tighten her up a bit, boys. Like like that's just my humble opinion. So
I think that's a valid opinion. There's some runs that are 6 issues long that could be told in 3.
Yeah, there's. Some of that happens in Marvel and DC too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Fireman, fucking Nick Spencer.
What about X-Men? The X title is your favorite?
I like the X. Yeah.
X of Swords is Taylor's favorite, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's right up there with Empire with a Y or whatever.
Oh no!
All right.
Well, versus zombies. That's all that event was. Anyways,
let's talk a little bit about like indies then, indies now. You know, there were, books like just like Scud or Too Much Coffee Man or Bone for just like all these compared to what an indie is now. Like how do you guys feel about that? Like comparison to the old days to now. In the old days can mean people 1980, 1990, so not that old, but yeah.
I think it's changed a fair amount. Like back when I first started reading indies, a lot of it was autobiographical or thinly veiled autobiographical. There's like Seth, It's a Good Life if you don't weaken, Chester Brown's Yummy Fur, and a lot of those, and like Chris Ware, his Billy Corgan, Smartest Kid on Earth, and like it was just like sad artists being sad on paper. But there was also some of the fun stuff like The Tick and like Too Much Coffee Man and stuff. And like I do think in the 80s, 90s, it for the most part was more experimental than now. Like India's gone mainstream, and like there's definitely, we were talking about this before we went on, there's definitely like indie tropes now. Like, a post-apocalyptic story is an indie trope. Like, oh, you want to get published? Be post-apocalyptic or horror. Those are the 2 genres I can think of that are like super hot in indie right now.
True.
So,
yeah. Well, yeah, like again, like Proctor Valley Road. So give us a horror.
Yeah.
At least that's based in the 70s. So it's like all right.
Yeah.
Or like
Go ahead.
the Nuclear Family. It brought like the whole post-apocalyptic thing with zombies now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it combined
Geiger's post-apocalyptic. They all have their different apocalypses, though, and different things that
they're just covering all the different apocalypses.
All the apocalypse, yeah. Noctera, like Comic Hunter said, that's another good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's in the chat somebody said Red Room too. There's your horror.
Yeah. That's if I were to say anything, I think like indie books are much less personal now than they used to be.
Yeah.
That's my.
I can feel that because it's like you're saying, it's kind of. Well, I guess we can just kind of talk about that, like how it just feels like there is no indie book anymore, or is there?
I mean, you still get the outliers like this thing.
Yes.
Which is this just came out this week, and I knocked it in my review, but only knocked it because it's like you can't hold the damn book without breaking it.
And where do you put it?
But I mean, it's an indie book. I mean, it is out there. It's bizarre. It's kind of fun. It's great. It's not for everybody, and it's also Fantagraphic Press. They're probably one of the few real indie publishers left. Like as far as the old school boys, they're they buck the trend and just kind of do a lot of the weird stuff. So,
Comic Hunter saying Spawn, maybe originally, that would have been indie, right?
Yeah, in the 90s. That's what I remember growing up with. Like you had Spawn, you had like Savage Dragon, you had when Valiant first came out, and all those Magnus the Robot Fighter and all those.
The funny thing is, though, is all of those probably had bigger print runs than anything does now.
Yes,
right?
So by a lot.
especially Spawn.
Yeah, Spawn. And now you have Radiant Black. Like Radiant Black and those kind of books are probably the new Spawn.
Radiant
I
Black
like
is
the
my
fact that-
favorite series.
I like the fact that
Absolutely. Go for it.
I was gonna say I like the fact that indies aren't like your typical cape and suit and superheroes where you know what you're gonna get when you read it. Like like Batman's he has this certain skill set, so you know what to expect. When you read an indie book, you have no idea what this person you're reading is about to do. So to me, it's more about what you don't know. What's more exciting about indies?
Yeah, because
That's fair.
you're
Yeah.
especially when it's like a brand new type, just brand new characters, like, and they can keep going with it. Like, yeah, that's the best thing about it.
Yep.
And the steering away from comics, like it doesn't have to be a superhero. You can have you can talk about pirates. I mean, one of my favorite ones is Sea of Sorrows, and that's a really cool series. But like, not many people know about it, and it kind of flew under the radar. Once it finished, everybody's like, "Wait a second, this is cool. This is about sunken treasure. I should check this out."
I think you just touched on something there too. Indie books can have an ending.
Yes.
Like, you can't have an ending to Spider-Man or Marvel tits up. So so
It's a conclusion. When a death happens, they actually die.
Right. They're like, they're not coming back unless it's a horror zombie.
yeah.
Unless it's Stillwater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
there you go. Or some crazy ones out there. Comic Hunter also said, somebody say gung ho, dang it. Gung ho is one of it's a cover buy for me. They have some cool art covers. But it's like 4 different sections. I think they're in their 4th series or something that's coming out.
And I just missed, I know we talked about this briefly, Comic Hunter. I caught the first issue of one of them and I really liked it. And then I couldn't find the next one at my LCS. And so it just kind of went the way of the dodo. I'll pick it up and trade at some point. So.
Yeah. And I noticed that too. These days, there are so many, Taylor, you're talking about trades and stuff. It's like you still want to collect and get these indies, but there's so many of them. Like you were saying, you can buy so freaking many that it might just be easier. I know a lot of us will still buy the books, but it's easier to sometimes just get the trade. And I used to never be a trade guy. I wouldn't get trades. I was like, oh no, I don't want the trade. Just give me the book. I'll read it. And now I'm just like, there's so many.
Yeah.
That I just was like, I'm gonna get the trade. That's what I'm gonna do.
Also, you're probably
could not agree with that more.
You're buying Marvel books because you're hoping you're gonna get the next Miles Morales. You're buying indie books to read, and it's a lot of times it's easier to read in a trade too. Not just because you have all the issues, but because it's all there. And a lot of times they write for the trade or they draw. They don't think in terms of chunking it up into issues so much as they think of one story that's 180 pages and.
As opposed to, I got to read 49 issues to be caught up and know where the hell I'm going to read it.
Exactly. And then you got to figure out where the last month's was and reread it because you forgot. And
Yep, totally agree. And then if you're after covers, I guess is the only reason that you'd want to pick up something specific. Some cool cover homage, like Stray Dogs. I pick up all the B covers because they have all the homages to different horror movies. And I'm gonna get the trade of Stray Dogs to read it, but they have some cool cover art, and it's kind of cool in that aspect.
Well, I mean, just look at speaking of covers. I mean, think about something is killing the children. Those covers, what they're worth. It's your mind just wants to go, And I remember digging through my boxes one day. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have all the early issues. Just not knowing it. I was like, oh, I don't have them, and I was like, oh, I do, because it's
I gave those away as nothing books in mystery boxes 6 months ago.
Well, now they're not. No.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, Taylor has no interest in making money.
Yeah, none. My eBay store is linked in my bio, and
you can buy a shirt on TaylorWinder.com.
There you go.
It's fine.
Yes, and some original art.
Yeah, that's
right. What else? What else can we talk about here?
I have tons of things to talk about. I actually wanted to bring up Radiant Black.
Okay.
Third issue, cover B. People talk snack about it. It's just a simple MacBook cover, and it says, "Should I write this comic?" And he's hovering over no. And I was just like, that takes some real cojones, because the story is about him having writer's block, and having a creator show that they're like insecure about what they're putting out there and they have doubts in what they're doing. That is so relatable. And I just bought a bunch of those because I thought it was cool, and it just takes a lot of and it's something that everybody can like kind of say like, hey, I have those same feelings. And it creates like a personal aspect to it. And I love the immersion that some indie books can do, because some of them will hit you harder than others, and some of them you have no interest. So if you don't like kaijus, don't pick up, what is it? Ultra Mega Orphan and the Five Beasts. Like, if you don't like kaijus, stay away from
kaiju
it. Stay away from
That's one of the other tropes right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Put it on the list. We have kaijus, we have horror, and post-apocalyptic. Yeah. And then you have your Vampirellas. And so
yeah, those I don't pick up because they don't do anything for me. Like I don't care about vampires.
How many 16? Oh wow, I don't know how many 16s there are for Something's Killing Children. Probably a lot.
I mean, if we're counting store exclusives, Comic Hunter, I mean, there's so damn many. I'm like, that's the other thing. It's like it's impossible to keep track of that kind of stuff. Like because every shop on the planet's now jumping on that train, and
and there's a lot of
exclusive
covers.
Yeah, I spent way too much. I got the 1 in 25, the 1 in 100, and the 1 per store.
Nice.
Plus the other ones.
Okay.
So
I bought the A cover, the B cover,
to...
and the Comic Tom, and that's about it. So
okay.
Yeah, I got the
I find
Comic
myself
Tom
not
as well.
picking up a lot of exclusives. I find myself just getting like ratios in that sense.
I don't chase down a lot of exclusives. I just really like the Comic Tom one, so I signed back up for his box.
Yeah. So. The Comic Tom was probably the coolest one in my opinion for number 16. And I'm
Adrian will disagree because he's got some coming better.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Well, I have some good ones coming. People are going to be like,
we look forward to seeing it. But yeah, I'm a Something Is Killing the Children hater. I'm not into the art, not into the story. I've read it, and I'm like, okay, it's what it is. It has a lot of. Yeah, that's what it is. Although what was it? 15 had that really cool Leaving Wisconsin cover. I really liked the blues and that, and it was very Walking Dead-esque.
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah.
I thought that cover was amazing, and that's just the A cover. And I'm like, cool. And there's a ton of them, and I don't have to pay hundreds of dollars to pick them up.
Right.
So
they shot up quick too. They went from next to nothing to like mind-blowing prices.
Yeah, it's tough to gauge reseller market on indie books because so much of it is predicated on print run, very the cool cover art, all that stuff. It's hard to gauge because there's so many titles.
Well, yeah, one of our
comic shop. Go ahead.
One of our buddies has been trying to sell a 9/8 Bitterroot cover forever. And like,
the Akira one, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a great cover, but like, it takes some education and an audience that knows what the hell they're getting, and that's right. I mean, it's a lot harder sell than the ASM 55 25th print Gleason Virgin signed by your mom.
So right now,
how many spider heads are there?
Are you all officially reading more indie than like Marvel and DC or not?
It's probably about 50-50.
Yeah.
Indie is first, then DC, then Marvel.
Okay.
So mostly
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. It was at first it was DC, and then just a few Marvel, and then some indies. Now it's like literally it's like 80% indies. Then you got like 15% DC, and then probably 5% Marvel. So it's heavy indies for me.
I'm right there with Jason.
Yeah. I'm cutting back on a lot of my Marvel. Marvel's writing has been awful lately, honestly. So, like, DC's has gotten markedly better. But yeah, indies are indies are hit or miss. They really are. But
yeah, I'd say I'm probably it's like indie, DC, Marvel. That's where it is. So And I love Marvel. You guys know I like Spider-Man and everything, but like it's got to be good stories.
Yeah, that's still got to be good stories. You can love the hero all you want, but like I'm enjoying reading the Immortal Hulk run. Like someone DJ Links was talking about how good that was, and I like the Hulk, so I read it. It's a pretty good run from what I've read so far.
And I'll read that later. I'll read it when it's done. That's how I feel about that. And then that's, from my understanding, that's pretty much just a horror comic disguised as a Hulk book, right?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Now, can you depend on Marvel and DC to come up with trade paperbacks for the different stories and sections of stories? Like they get a new artist for Daredevil or a new book for Daredevil. Will they have like trade paperbacks? Because in the indie market, it's not always guaranteed.
Yeah, Marvel, they'll milk the hell out of it. And Marvel, I mean, yeah.
I noticed indie, you can usually pick them up online at least. Like, I know it's like you don't want to like I'm talking about like PDF or whatever, like just so sometimes like you run into that, but it's like if you want.
I mean, honestly, like the Comixology for $6 a month, you can grab a lot of indie stuff too. Like if you don't care about owning it and having an artifact, you can have the NFT.
There is something about the NFT.
we don't need to get into NFTs.
Yeah,
that's a different video.
Even the chat, we have Indie, Nightwing, and No Marvel for an annual. Marvel, Indie, then DC for James.
Yeah, that's James. Yeah. Comic. I like Gleason, but and I have nothing against him, but he's just milking those covers to death.
Yeah, they're everywhere, man.
Something hits and they just stick to it. So
that's the thing.
Marvel's starting to bring.
Marvel milks one thing and rubs it into the ground too much.
Now, just to not, I mean, this is tangentially indie, but like Marvel maybe is slowly starting to learn their lesson because, like, I'm scrolling through these real quick to grab two of them, like this and like both of these books are indie books in disguise. Like Beta Ray Bill, Daniel Warren Johnson. He's an indie writer, and he's writing an indie book. It just happens to be with Beta Ray Bill in it. And then this Jason Aaron and James Stokoe, Heroes Reborn.
Oh yeah, totally.
This is not a Marvel book. Like It's Dr. Spectrum, who's sort of a Marvel character, and but it's not even a traditional take on him. It's just super American, hates everybody else. It's a statement about America. It's not a Marvel book. So. Like Marvel's starting to let a little bit of creep back in because I think they're realizing like you can't just have like a story about Kindred for 90 issues.
Right. Same with Head Games with Murdoch.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep. Those are great points. Those are absolutely great points.
I think Marvel needs to make an indie book.
But that destroys the trope of it. DC has really cool indies coming out.
Marvel with their own crossover book, sort of. They have like all the different characters from all the indie books in it.
There you go. Iron Man meets Kaiju Battle.
Spider-Man and Scud.
Nice.
I love it. I love it in interviews like this. How like there'll be moments where we all want to say something, and then we'll courteously be like, "Oh, okay, no, you go. No, you go. Okay, no, you go." I would like to show off
Deadpool.
Ooh, I would like to show off a couple books that nobody has probably heard of.
Sure.
So this is After Dark, After the Rain. Jesus. And this is an absolutely fantastic story. It is amazing and beautiful, and it's translated, and I just can't say enough of it. And then here's another one, Osaka Mine. This came out last week, I believe. I don't want to say too much about these. I mean, look them up. Just look up After the Rain and Osaka Mine, and you will have some great stories, great art. This is why I'm into indies, stuff like this. Just things that you never heard of. You read it and you're like, oh, this is great. And it's one thing. That's it. 2 books. You don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. Just put both of those in. Nice. Absolutely great.
That is nice sometimes. Because like everybody says, like everybody's dropping insane amounts of money now, and it's just like,
yeah. Well, like Adrian, you and I were talking the other night, and like what I'm starting to like try and find to grab is not like it's all the Zap and the old Robert Crumbs and all that, because like You can find those for fairly cheap, and they're great and twisted and weird.
Yep.
And
Totally.
no one's specking on those. So it's like,
No.
all right, I'll grab all the California indies from the 60s and 70s and like have a real interesting time looking at big boobed, hairy legged women that Robert Crumb's obsessed over. And
You got the Freak Brothers, Mr. Natural, everything working.
Yeah.
Mr. Natural. That's funny you bring that up. My dad had a huge tattoo on his arm, or he still does, on his arm right here, Mr. Natural with his big old shoes and his big old white beard. And I had no idea what that was until I got to be in high school. And I'm like, oh.
yeah.
Yeah, up on my wall here, I got like the Mr. Natural my dad gave me.
That's awesome.
And it was the best thing about the cover is he's on his little scooter.
Yeah.
He's going past some kids and they're like, Mr. Natural, what does it all mean? He just rolled past. It don't mean shit.
Yeah. If anyone's not watched the Crumb documentary, I highly recommend it. It's worth checking out.
I
That's
concur.
cool. I'll check it out.
I'll check it out too.
Uh,
What do you guys think of Bad Idea?
oh yeah, that's perfect.
I
I did
have
a lot
not
of
read
research.
anything from Bad Idea, so this is all go
Yeah.
for it.
I could sum it up. Go ahead, Taylor.
No, we'll be right back. I've not read it. You guys talk.
He's gonna go get all his bad ideas. The concept is cool in the sense that they see some problems in the comic industry that they want to make better, and they're gonna take this radical approach and change everything and make it difficult for everybody.
That's true.
But they're I mean, I want to say that they were like trying to stop the like multiple printings of the books, but then all they did was drive up their price of their first printing to where that they released. People can't like get a hold of it, and it's like it was up to like $175, and now it's like cooled off at like 60. But still, like you shouldn't have to pay for that much for like a tiny comic book. Like the problem
Good
is it's
stories,
good stories.
too.
Yeah,
Great
that's the
stories.
main problem. It's great stories, great art. Quality of the book is amazing. Like I don't feel like it's gonna blow away in the wind. It's interesting what they're doing, and I'm interested to see where they go with it in that sense. But it's hard to deny them when they have such good content.
That's the thing. I was a hater at first. Like, these probably aren't even good stories. Why is it so hard to get? Is that their whole thing? And then I started reading them, and I'm like, okay. Like ENIAC. ENIAC is almost like a creepy sci-fi-ish like Terminator with Skynet. If you can imagine like Skynet taking over the world and stuff. I mean, it is wild.
Yep.
ENIAC is wild.
Such a
Great
great concept.
It is.
Comic Hunters brought up Pizza Detective, and the only thing I
Yes.
have to say about Pizza Detective is it's $1 book. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Like Bad Idea set their philosophy on you have to charge this for the first week. Like you have to allow the people to get it, but then they only have 250 stores that you can get it from. So they strap you on that end, but then they also make it. I mean, you can't sell it online, but then there's eBay. At the end of Pizza Detective, $1 book is a preview for a really cool series called Save Now, and it's. I was talking to the guys backstage about this, and it's essentially hitting save on a video game, and this guy's trying to go back and like fix all these things, and he could like. There's cool little things that they're doing at Bad Idea. Like the cool previews for their cool books, the secrets that they have, and the creators coming out are the owners of the company saying like maybe this is a bad idea. So they're trolling everybody in my opinion.
Sort of, yeah. They're doing a good job of it too.
Yep. Oh yeah, totally. They're great.
So the Save Now, that's coming out from Bad Idea then?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
coming out in like August or something. It just looks cool. And
Yeah, it does.
and they didn't say anything about it. They only promoted it in that book. They're still not saying anything about it, and just leaves it to the fans, like people that actually read the stuff. They get to find this stuff out, or they watch us on YouTube and find it out through there.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds like a cool concept to me. So
Yeah, it's just hard to get the stuff, and I mean, there's on eBay and talk to some people. There's like Comic Warehouse out there, that'll set you up on a subscription plan if you really wanted to. But you got to
I
subscribe to
remember,
like
I
almost
remember
all of
setting
it.
up a subscription for ENIAC, but then I don't know what happened. Like, so
Well, yeah, they didn't realize how popular they were going to be for ENIAC as well. So like the issue 1 first printing, they weren't even close to, like, they need to sell out all their other stuff and then they do the not first printings. The only other book that has a not first printing is Whalesville. Do you have a not first printing Tankers? No, you have a first printing Tankers. ENIAC 2, 3, and almost 4. Those are all just first printings. You don't see the not first printings. So it's just how they structured their business, I guess. And I don't know, it's cool. It's different. It's different than Aftershock. It's different than Antarctic Press, who you can't get books from, apparently. Yeah, what do you guys think about the different companies? Like, my favorite company is probably Aftershock, because they had Live, they have a bunch of other cool titles.
They do have a lot of good books.
I guess I would be around, like, that's funny, I was just going to bring it up. So it's like, in that balance, I'd say probably it's right now, it's boom with the balance of Image. So it's kind of old. So.
Mad Cave is pretty great too. I mean, there's a couple of different companies out there that are doing some really fun stuff. So,
yeah, Boom and Image for me are probably the two. Like that, what was that? The new Image book that just came out about time travel and going back and bringing people back to different times and stuff. That book was freaking amazing.
Time Before Time, and that
Time
was
Before
a
Time,
really cool
yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
It's confusing read, and I'm excited for issue 2. But such a cool idea.
Had a crazy twist there toward the end. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah,
Have you
there's a
watched
couple time
Looper?
books out there.
Yeah.
And obviously, I have to get all the time books as I am the time traveler now. The
You can get them next time around.
Who does Chariot? Is that Aftershock?
I got it.
I don't know.
I think that is Aftershock.
I think it is.
Yeah,
the one about
the Knight Rider-esque.
yeah. The super
kinda
spy
comic.
dies in
Yeah,
her
that-
car and her spirit goes into the car, and yeah, it's just a good
Yep.
read as well.
Yeah, I like that. I just keep looking at my list, man. The Chariot's on here as well.
Haven't read that one.
I like
Good
I Walk
book.
with Monsters.
I liked how that one started.
Yeah, the ending is interesting. It's such good character building, and that's what I
Yeah.
liked about them. They took a different take on that kind of stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. The ending was not for everybody, I guess. We were expecting.
And there's some that are just like, I mean, that is nice about indie though. Is there's some like it just gives creators like ways of flexing and doing their own stuff. Like I Breathe the Body. I couldn't stand it after the 30.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea what this is about. I don't care, but it's cool that it exists. Like
The second issue is when I stopped reading it too. I was like, man, I got to think way too hard when I'm reading this book. Like I really got to pay way too much attention when I'm reading this book to really enjoy it. So I couldn't read it no more.
Yeah, give me a book where people tell me neutrons are from the heart any day of the week.
Got my neurons in my heart, man.
Another one that everybody liked was Crossover. Like just the idea. They might have not liked the entirees, but it was so cool to have a concept of crossover. Indie
Yeah,
book.
I'm looking forward because Zdarsky is doing the next run on that, and I'm looking forward to see how that goes.
Zdarsky,
I like the fact
Bam
that it was
V.
God Country. It tied into God Country.
Yep. And
was
Savage
awesome.
Dragon showed up. We
Yeah.
we were talking about that too. That's it was
Oh,
kind
and
of-
Madman.
yeah.
Mike Allred, he was one of the OGs of indie from the 80s and 90s as well. So yeah,
Okay. Speaking
not,
of
not
OG,
OGs. I mean, OGs are in the 60s, but still, yeah.
I'm a fan of dinosaurs. So I got the first Xenozoic tales, Death Rattle,
Nice.
and that obviously led into everybody's favorite series, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. So you got your
Oh,
little
I remember that
Cadillac
one.
right
Oh,
there.
nice.
I love concepts like that. You don't see that stuff in mainstream. And
Oh, don't you? Where's my crappy copy of
Oh, yeah,
Reptile
that's
for
it.
the week?
Reptilia,
okay.
whatever it's called. I
Okay.
passed on that one.
God, that was
I thought
horrible.
about it.
I spoke too soon. I
Yeah, I
should have
know.
known that you're going to pull that book up.
I have it somewhere over here, but that was awful.
Yeah, I get the point that you're trying to make as well.
I'd just be
It's a very good point. Oh man, but I think the concept of this is like there's so many other cool things that you could find, and like I like By the Horns. It's about this girl trying to get revenge on unicorns.
Yeah,
They,
Scout
like-
Comics are doing some fun stuff too.
Yeah,
Frank at Home on the Farm.
yeah.
The Recount, there's a
The recount had some
What's-
buzz.
what's-
Yeah.
What's his face in his talking gun?
Oh,
yeah.
Sam and his
Sam
talking
and his
gun.
talking gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped doing it for a bit, but I like Scout's box idea too, where you can if you can't get to your LCS, you can get all their books in different variants and shots at a good one for like
Right.
30 something a month. They'll just ship you 10 books. So
Yeah. What's the company that does the nonstop series where they release an issue 1 and then it goes straight to trade paperback? I forgot what company that was.
I don't know.
No idea.
I'll just look it up and get back to it. I thought it was a cool concept though. They have an issue 1 and then they jump to trade. Like, here, take a look at this. It's basically like a preview book. And
like
then
the reverse of the one that Kirkman's book, Firepower. Here's the trade, and now we're going to do the series. Yeah.
I like
I'm gonna look it up.
But that's a fun book too, by the way. Firepower. if you haven't
Firepower?
read it. Yeah.
I like the kung fu karate style anything.
Yeah.
That's another trope. The karate fighting, the old
Yeah.
kung fu movies.
It all goes in cycles, I think.
Right?
Oh, is that the first print?
Yep.
You son of a. All these young kids don't know that one.
I have no clue what Scud is.
Oh, it's a great read.
Disposable Assassin, man. Come on.
That's
so
you could
cool.
you could probably still hunt down trades of it. It's a great read.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You could probably find it.
Didn't he go on to work on TV shows?
Yeah, he did some stuff I'm pretty sure for Rick and Morty and
Like
like
Community?
yeah,
maybe?
I think in Community.
Yeah.
So he's actually done some cool things. So
Yeah.
that's
But yeah, it's
I'm gonna
the
look that
premise
up now.
behind Scud
I've
is
never
like
heard of it either.
well, the premise behind Scud is you can hire they have vending machines with robots and like they're killer robots.
Okay.
And you pay to get this robot to kill somebody, but after they kill somebody, the robot dies. The robot's done, and like this robot doesn't want to die, so it can't fulfill its mission, so it goes and does everything else in order to not die. So,
That's awesome. And I have no idea about that again. It is Scout Comics that does the nonstop series.
okay.
okay.
So yeah, they have
We'll
some
have to all
cool
check it out.
concepts. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bone, if you all haven't read Bone's another one that's like,
Great.
I mean, it's a commitment,
Yeah.
but it's a great story.
Yeah. Saga is a commitment, and it's a great
Yes.
story.
Yeah, but Saga's not done yet. That's
Yeah.
the George R. R. Martin. That shit's never gonna finish. So
Never.
I bought the compendium. It's like a dictionary.
Was there? I'll just say this, and if there's anything else after this, we'll go from there. But were there any books you just like picked up indie wise recently? We'll say that you just thought was, you don't have to say awful, but I'll say it. I thought Inkblot was awful.
yeah, that was bad.
So,
Yeah,
was it?
we agreed on that one.
yeah.
There's another one. I can't remember what it was called. But it had
Inkblot.
it was a sci-fi one with the purple skull in the cover, and it was the story was great, but the art was just so horrible. I couldn't read it.
Yeah, it was just the word bowling and the lettering and all, like it was so just.
Yeah.
It's like they just went. Literally, they took the ink and went.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you'll like my answer. I wasn't a fan of Eve.
And I haven't read it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that's everyone can have their. That's
Yeah, I just a lot of people, everybody I talk to, they're like, Eve was awesome. Everybody's like, it's gonna be the next big thing. And
There's another one, Luna. I try to get into like weird 70s psycho vampires, which sounds like it'd be great, but like I tried the first issue. I was like, I don't care.
I like
No.
the covers for Luna, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's tough to get through unless you're into
What's up, Kramer and Cachet?
the
Yo.
70s hippie kind of.
If you're looking for a really fun one, just to bring it back to actually good books for a half second, then we can talk about the bad ones. Many Deaths of Layla Starr. is fantastic.
100%. Yep.
I haven't read that yet. It's 2 issues in, right?
2 issues
Yes.
in, yeah.
Yep, 2 issues.
It's such a cool concept.
It is. It's a fun story about death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, death lost the job. Lost
It's
her
the most
job.
fun you can have after, other than reading Neil Gaiman's version. So
I guess it's not really new, but what is that? Basically, paranormal private eye book. I can't think of the name of it now.
Oh yeah, I know what you're
I read
saying.
like 3 issues of it, and it was like I was expecting it to be a lot better than what it
The
was.
Paranormal Hitman?
What's that?
Is it the Paranormal Hitman? No.
No, I
No.
don't think so. It was I know what
Like-
you're saying. Something detective.
Yes, paranormal detectives or something.
Yeah.
Like
Shoot. I know what
Shadow
you're talking about.
Detectives?
Nope.
that. No.
There's so many.
Yeah, exactly. Shadow.
Yeah, there's so many, but
Are we talking about
it was-
paranormal? Is that on our list?
Yeah.
Check.
right?
What's up, Will?
How's it going, Will?
Shoot.
What
I-
about
I-
what
interesting.
about people in the chat? What's your favorite indie books y'all been reading lately?
Yeah, tell
There are
us.
some favorite ones or ones that you
Or
didn't.
hated ones,
Spectre
whatever.
Inspectors. There it is. Dark Comics.
There
said
you
it.
go.
Okay.
My chat's not
man.
refreshing. Or it's going slow. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have
I
it on
read
my
like the
phone.
first few issues of that, and maybe I just got sidetracked with other books. Maybe I should go back and read it again. But I didn't like the first 3 issues.
I don't
It's
know.
funny. Like
I'm with
I
you.
spent so much every week on like indie books, and I haven't heard of half of these or I haven't read half of them. I'm like, I'm really missing out.
There you go. Amber says
I think it's impossible
Noctera.
to keep up with all of them. But
Surprised, Amber, you didn't put Department of Truth? What? I thought that was your baby.
This is the second time Noctera's been said in the chat too.
Yeah.
Noctera is
Noctera's
amazing.
It's cool looking.
I don't have faith in Scott Snyder to stick the landing. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I will read it, but like, and I've liked it thus far, but I've also read his DC work, and I'm like,
Let's hope that that doesn't happen here because
Right.
it's so dang good up until this point that it would be it's almost like it would be such a letdown if the ending sucked. But
Yeah, I haven't read the Nuclear Family, but I know Taylor has. Will.
Nuclear Family is Nuclear Family is a lot of fun.
Shadecraft's another good one. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
the art in Shadecraft, and I love the concept. I hope they do more with like shadows and stuff like that. They could have so much freedom, at least artistically, with a book like that.
I didn't read Shadecraft because of somebody in the panel's review.
I didn't
won't
like
say
it. I thought the first issue is hot garbage, but it's okay. We don't have to agree on this.
No, that's not what this is about.
That's
Dead Dog's Bite. I've heard really good things about. It's one of those. I think I missed the first issue, and I need to wait for trade.
I Walk with Monsters. You guys brought that up earlier, right? Or no?
Yes,
Yep.
we were
Yeah,
a fan of
yeah.
it. Weren't a big fan of the ending, but I love the character development. Oh my goodness! If you need a how-to character develop, I Walk with Monsters 1 through 4, and then just leave out 5 and 6.
Yeah, just stop.
and I loved it. I have 2 copies of the entire series. Jenny Zero, I thought was kind of cool.
Is that Garth Ennis?
Yeah,
I thought it
and-
could be cool, but
It was
had
the
dinosaurs,
kaiju
which
one,
is why I
right?
dug it.
She was a kaiju fighter.
Yeah,
Kaiju fight, yeah.
and then there's that whole debacle with them releasing it and then it having an error, and it was like a slight error, and everybody's like, "Oh, get the error," and
That's always the case. Get the error. Get the error.
yeah. What else? Shadow Doctor. That's a cool retelling of like an old story.
The picture of everything else is pretty good too.
Yes, very good.
It's a sort of retelling of Picture Dorian Gray. So
I think Taylor. I think Comic Con. I think that was directed at you. Better or worse than Kate's? But directed at you for the talking about Schneider and all this. Or no?
sticking a landing? I don't know. Like, he definitely can't stick a landing. Like he. I don't know. I think if Cates and Snyder got together, he could have the most wussy ass ending to a thing ever. So
Cool. Yeah, they agree with I Walk with Monsters. Will said the same thing, and Amber said I haven't read 5 or 6. So you're good.
What about
You,
Homesick
you still
Island?
can though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing it. Like, see,
That's
the
not what I
ending.
missed the last issue of. I just forgot. I didn't have it in my pull list. I was getting it individually, and the last one didn't. My comic shop
Yeah,
got damaged or
read it.
something
That's
else.
what indies are for. They come to an end.
Yeah.
And you might not like it. You might like it. Some people might be like, that was a great thing. Devil's Red Bride is another cool one that you could go pick up like a full run of. I love samurai stuff. I love samurais and dinosaurs. So that's what I'm into.
There's a concept.
Yeah, you need
Yeah,
to get on it, man.
what am I doing?
Samurai dinosaurs.
Yep, but I need to cater to the tropes, so it's going to be post-apocalyptic horror samurai dinosaurs.
One of the
And
chats
then-
I was in yesterday, we were talking, and zombie moms. That'll be the next one I'm working on. So
Zombie moms.
There's zombie housewives.
Yeah.
Taylor, it's not too far off actually. There's Mom, Mother of Madness coming out in August.
Well, there you go.
So you're on the right track.
I feel like you could just take out one of those like random, like you know how the like Childish Gambino got his name from like a Wu-Tang name generator.
Yeah.
There should be like an indie story generator. Like
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We
that'd
need
be
to make
great.
it quick. We need to make one.
yeah.
Yep. Well, what if we put them in outer space?
It takes place in outer space, before time, but after time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, can it really
Kind
get
of
much
space
crazier than
zombies.
Scumbag?
Yeah,
Scumbag's
Scumbag.
like it.
Scumbag's
Get any
everything that
crazier?
the title is. Yep. If you need to know what that book's about, just read the title, and that's Scumbag.
Scumbag is just shameless as a superhero.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, that's perfect.
Like,
Oh, I love that. That
The
is awesome.
spaceship Thunderbird or whatever it is.
yeah.
That is awesome.
Let's see.
I have not read Honor and Curse.
All right, there's 3 more books on my list that I haven't mentioned: Black Monday Murders, Hollow Heart, and Seven Swords.
That's the Hollow Heart's the one. Purple Skull, awful
Yep.
art. It drove me so nuts I couldn't read any more of it. The art was so bad on that.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like it. The story was poignant and painful, and it should have been a one shot. But then they're like, "Oh, more issues of this." Correct. Like, I just no, no, sir.
No, he says. That's
Yeah,
an
the
artist's point of view,
the
though.
art is rough.
That was
Sorry,
a
guys
the
think-
artist watching this.
What do you guys think of black and white comics?
Oh yeah,
I like him.
I'm
Yeah,
down.
that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Because
I
like,
know, see, I know some people like really want color, but they're also the people that are like, I think it's hard to get them to read indies in the first place.
yeah,
You know, so
Walking Dead, Ninja Turtles. I mean, like,
yeah,
so
all of manga.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's an
Right.
entire industry of it.
Some of my favorite comic book covers, honestly, are the more simplistic black and white covers because they're so amazing without the color. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't need the color to be. Yeah, I love black and white personally.
I got some Venom black and white if you need it.
Shut up! You shut your dirty mouth.
How about,
hey,
how
so do
about
I.
black and red? I have some Wolverine of that.
Yeah, if anybody needs some Wolverine black, white, and red error variant, I've got like
Or red and blue, I have some Superman. Or Wonder Woman, I have some white and gold, I think.
yeah.
Is what that one? Yeah.
Taylor, you got any Miss Marvel 16s?
Actually, I don't anymore. I sold all of them.
Wow, nice.
Holy
Yeah.
Give me applause for
Somebody
that.
on eBay bought like every copy I had for $10 a pop. I was like, okay. So
You know what I have noticed? Like,
I thought it was my
compared
cable, but I think my camera just hates me. So
to, it's funny too. Thinking about like books I've had for like over the years, like like I mean, some of my older Batman books are still some of my favorites, and always will be, stuff like that. But I've always felt with indie books, new ones, like as long as I have like the number one myself and everything, I'm good as long as I have like the run. But I've found that I almost keep more of indie stuff than I do mainstream. Like I'm like, oh, I guess I can get rid of that now because whatever. But indie stuff, I'm like, no, hoard it away. Like, and like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, when I was getting up, I was going to look for stuff, and I have a bin full of indie hardcovers and stuff that I just can't figure out where I put it. And I was trying to grab a book called Cages, which is Dave McKean, who did all the covers for Sandman. But like he had his own book called Cages. Check it out if you can. It's fantastic. It's about his apartment complex in New York and like, you know, writer's block and writers and, bigotry and racism and hiding and fear. Really simplistic black and white art, which I actually prefer to his like assemblage covers he did and everything. So, but yeah. And that's what I held on to. I have that and I have like Chris Ware books and none of them are worth a damn thing. Like monetarily.
You go through mine and I'd be like, careful. You know, you're like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like as you pass like Amazing Fantasy 15, I'm like, yeah. Like,
Action Comics 1, I don't need it.
Yeah, I'm like, past that. Look at the cool indie stuff over there.
Yeah. I mean, that's even how I started to get to know Adrian. I'm like, hey, you know any cool indies? And he's like, boy, do I. How much money do you have?
That makes me look like an asshole. Like, you.
Oh, no.
If I only had these. Yeah.
I was so appreciative. No, it was not meant to be that way.
Well, it's another. I started doing my Monday trade paperback reviews of mostly indie books because, like, I wanted to read more and hopefully share more. Turns out nobody cares. I get like 30 views a pop on those, and that's it. But, I don't give.
Just wait, they will start caring. They're gonna be like, I just want to focus more on indie. All of a sudden, they're like, does anyone even read any of these things? And there he is.
Yep.
I think the majority of most people that I've talked to in the industry like indies more than they do the two big ones, honestly. There's a few people that like Marvel that are, the Gary B's out there that like the Black Cats and just like their favorite characters. But
yeah,
for the most part, most people like these indies.
I think there's two different audiences. I think there's the reader's audience and then the collector's audience. And so the collector's audience are the ones that are going to be on the auction tomorrow night and spending $100 on a variant cover and ASM 361 9.9 signed by your mom and everyone. Your mom signs a lot of shit. What can I tell you? She just not sign anything. So
just remember, Mother of Madness coming out in August.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you gentlemen would like to say to these fine people in here? And thank you, Chad, by the way. Chad. Sounds like I'm saying Chad. Chad, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Chad.
The chat. But yeah.
No, yeah, just keep sharing in the comments even after this. Like indies that you like, indies that you didn't like.
Yeah, please do.
That's what this community is about, is sharing. This is just us getting together talking about what we like and things that we might have not liked and how the industry is kind of shaped. So yeah.
What about I recommend? How about each of us recommend one thing we don't think anybody else in here has read, and then then we can wrap it. Is that it? What do you think? Will that wrap it up for you? Good.
Sure. Yeah. Why don't you start with?
All right. I don't have I have a copy, but I don't have it with me. But if you can hunt it down, and this is gonna be a painful read for some folks, but it's Chester Brown's The Playboy, and it's a really early 90s read, autobiographical, and it's a strange little story, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah, I'm writing it down too. Chester Brown, right?
Yeah, he's the writer, and the book is called The Playboy. So it's a painful read, but it's a funny, awkward, painful read. So
yeah, I'm gonna go grab mine real fast.
All right.
I don't have mine because mine is, I'm pretty sure it's a digital read only. It's Chip Zdarsky, I'm pretty sure that writes it. Snow Angels, have you read it?
I've not. You've told me about it, but I haven't had a chance to hunt it. I think it's Jeff Lemire, isn't it? Or am I
Jeff Lemire. It might be Jeff Lemire. I get them mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snow Angels is a really good one. And it's only digital only, I'm pretty sure.
On Comixology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's mine. Plastic.
Nice.
I guarantee nobody's heard of it. Just go check out Plastic. Read the concept before, because you might not like it, but it's a cool read.
And of course,
hell yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's why I like
indies. Coffee, man.
That's so cool.
And of course, I'm sure some of you read it, but come on.
Look at hell yeah. Gin makes a man mean. Let's booze up and riot.
Read them, guys. I'm sure some of you
Yeah.
have heard of some, maybe Milk and Cheese, probably more than Too Much Coffee, man. But
Yeah.
seriously. So please get out there. Read
That's
some
awesome.
fun new books.
Right.
That's our message.
Get out there and read, kids. And don't do drugs unless you have to.
Or unless
you're
you're
the
reading
Too much
scumbag.
coffee, man.
Or unless your doctor prescribes them to you.
That's right. Unless it's prescribed. Or at your local dispensary. Or whatever.
Or if you're bored, or if it's a Thursday.
Yep. Or if it's now, I'll be right
Thank you
back,
all for
gentlemen.
watching. Like you said, leave a comment. You know, something like if you're just watching the video now, leave a comment. Your favorite indie book. Who knows? Maybe we'll stop by and say we love you. You know.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Until next time, keep it real. Keep it rural.